Chapter 20 Confessions The Psychology of My Own Money. Sandy Gottesman, a billionaire investor who founded the consulting group First Manhattan, is said to ask one question when interviewing candidates for his investment team: what do you own and why? Not what stocks do you think are cheap or what economy is about to have a recession. Just show me what you do with your own money. I love this question because it highlights what can often be a mile wide gap between what makes sense, which is what people suggest you do, and what feels right to them, which is what they actually do. Half of all US mutual fund portfolio managers do not invest a cent of their own money in their funds, according to Morningstar. This might seem atrocious, and surely the statistic uncovers some hypocrisy. But this kind of stuff is more common than you would think. Ken Murray, a professor of medicine at USC, wrote an essay in 2011 titled How Doctors Die that showed the degree to which doctors choose different end-of-life treatments for themselves than they recommend for their patients. Doctors don't die like rest of us, he wrote. What's unusual about them is not how much treatment they get compared to most Americans, but how little. For all the time they spend fending off the deaths of others, they tend to be fairly serene when faced with their death themselves. They know exactly what is going to happen, they know the choices, and they generally have access to any sort of medical care they could want, but they go gently. A doctor may throw the kitchen sink at a patient's cancer, but choose palliative care for herself. The difference between what someone suggests you do and what they do for themselves isn't a bad thing. It just underscores that when dealing with complicated and emotional issues that affect you and your family, there is no one right answer. There is no universal truth. There's only what works for you and your family. Checking the boxes you want checked in a way that leaves you uncomfortable and sleeping well at night. There are basic principles that must be adhered to. This is true in finance and in medicine, but important financial decisions are not made in spreadsheets or in textbooks. They are made at the dinner table. They often aren't made with the intention of maximizing returns, but minimizing the chance of disappointing a spouse or child. Those kinds of things are difficult to summarize in charts and formulas, but they vary widely from person to person. What works for one person may not work for another. You have to find what works for you. Here's what works for me. How my family thinks about savings. Charlie Munger once said, I did not intend to get rich, I just wanted to get independent. We can leave aside rich, but independence has always been my personal financial goal. Chasing the highest returns or leveraging my assets to live the most luxurious life has little interest to me. Both look like games people do to impress their friends, and both have hidden risks. I mostly just want to wake up every day knowing my family and I can do whatever we want to do on our own terms. Every financial decision we make revolves around that goal. My parents lived their adult years in two stages: dirt poor and moderately well off. My father became a doctor when he was 40 and already had 3 kids. Earning a doctor's salary did not offset the frugal mentality that is forced when supporting 3 hungry kids while in medical school. And my parents spent the good years living well below their means with a high savings rate. This gave them a degree of independence. My father was an emergency room doctor, one of the highest stress professions I can imagine, and one that requires a painful toggling of circadian rhythms between night and day shifts. After 2 decades, he decided he had had enough, so he stopped, just quit, moved on to the next phase of his life. What stuck with me? Being able to wake up one morning and change what you're doing on your own terms whenever you're ready seems like the grandmother of all financial goals. Independence to me doesn't mean you'll stop working. It means you only do the work you like with people you like and the times you want for as long as you want. And achieving some level of independence does not rely on earning a doctor's income. It's mostly a matter of keeping your expectations in check and living below your means. Independence at any income level is driven by your savings rate. And past a certain level of income, your savings rate is driven by your ability to keep your lifestyle expectations from running away.